Good day, everybody. My name is Lawrence Bellido. I'm the 2026 Immediate Past President for the Orlando Regional REALTOR Association. And I'm this week's host on the Realty Rundown, ORRA's official podcast. Today, we have our guest speaker, who's going to be Christopher Baker, who's also one of our chairs here at the MAC Committee. Good afternoon, Chris. How are you doing today, brother?
Doing great.
Just a little bit of insight. Christopher Baker and I, we worked together in Keller Williams. I've known him for about 15 to 20 years, I think, right? Is that about right?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. And it's one of those things where you just, you blink your eye and you're here today at a podcast for the association.
Yeah,
So,
that's great, man.
Yeah. Well, today we're going to be speaking about the leadership journey. And we want to interview you and discuss, how did your leadership journey begin?
Yeah. So I kind of started off, I was in the United States Air Force before I got into real estate. I was stationed at Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina.
Okay.
And then just made a decision to kind of move to Orlando and start selling real estate, and ultimately kind of open up a lot of different opportunities for me. And so it brought me here to eventually now to ORRA to kind of use some of those skills that I've learned throughout the years to help grow our association.
That's great to get started with. So first and foremost, thank you for your service. It's an honor to have you here and you serving our country. That's I always say, if it isn't for our military, we wouldn't have our freedoms that we have today.
Yeah, freedom isn't free. I'm glad to be here.
That's right. Thank you. So with that being said, you mentioned that you used your skills from the military to get started. The listeners and viewers want to know today, how did that look for you when you started your leadership journey?
Yeah. So when I started my leadership journey, I've kind of been doing a variety of different leadership roles inside my company. I was on our leadership council, or board of directors for our office. I've done that multiple times. I've been a leader as a trainer. And Rose Kemp actually reached out to me about 3 or 4 years ago with an opportunity. She had been really reaching out to me multiple times about getting involved in ORRA. And I think just the timing wasn't right, or the opportunity wasn't right. And then about 4 years ago, she said that they're going to start a military task force that's all about helping veterans grow leaders inside the veteran community. They're also realtors. And I said, sign me up. And so I started getting involved in our task force and help with the development and curation of what we call the Military Advisory Council today. And so I'm excited to be the chair this year, and excited what we're kind of doing and helping out with ORRA. So
that's amazing. And for those, everybody should know who Rose Kemp is. She's our past president for the Orlando Regional REALTOR Association. She is the one that will come out and ask, hey, we feel that you have talent. It's time for you to lead. So I always say, if another leader asks you to lead, you need to start leading. That's it. All right, Chris. So walk me through the decision of jumping into leadership. Walk us through and let us know your personal take on it. What did you feel, and how did you go about it?
No, it was just like a great opportunity at the time. I'm super passionate around where it aligned with my business opportunity as well, because I'm really heavy into working with veterans. And at the same time, I like the aspect, because I believe that as realtors, we have a great opportunity to really impact our community, because I believe that we're ambassadors for Central Florida. And so what better opportunity is to help lead and shape how we as realtors support the veteran community in Central Florida. And so that's ultimately probably what drove me to actually take up the leadership opportunity and being encouraged by it, is because I want to make great impact on our veteran community. And with over 17,000 strong realtors, what impact could we do if we were all united in helping to make that happen? And so that's what really kind of shaped my thought process of getting involved.
That's amazing. And when did you realize that moment when you were in the middle of your career getting to leadership? When did you realize that was the moment of, let me get into this now?
For me, like I've been in a lot of leadership positions, and so I think the pivot was where I felt like I had done a lot in Keller Williams and my company, and so I felt like you know um, there's a lot of things I felt like we could do as a realtor group. Um, and I think we were just positioned to do it. And so like I thought it was time. So like and it took me, about 3 or 4 years ago when I was like, hey, this is coming up, this opportunity is coming up. Why not get involved in it? Something I'm passionate around. And help mold it. So
Thank you for that. And are you currently in any leadership training, or have you taken Leadership Academy here at ORRA?
yes, yes. So like right now, which is amazing, is taking the Aura Leadership Academy. Um, it's been a really exciting and interesting and an eye-opening experience because I've been a member of the association for 20 years. And there's a lot I don't know about like how it operates and some of the things that they do. I'm learning like so many different resources that we have, so many capabilities that we do, and so it's just a really cool experience learning from a different angle of like, what does it look like on the advocacy side that helps us? What does it look like on the the association side and the business part of it and all that kind of stuff? And so it's really exciting to be a part of it.
I'm glad you shared that because I had felt the same many years ago when I first started and thought, where are my dues going? And I
Right.
pulled that thread. What does Aura do for me? And I clicked on the website and just found a plethora of tools that was provided to us, and then found myself on the same journey of being in the Leadership Academy.
Yeah, what's interesting about it too, Lawrence, and I think a lot of people underestimate like what the association actually does for our profession. Okay, and so like that for me was probably the most eye-opening part is that we're out there, realtors out there just selling homes and making it happen for our customers and all that kind of stuff. But it takes a code of ethics. It takes equal playing field. It takes a lot to make sure that the customer is getting the support, the professionalism they deserve in the process, and or is behind all the scenes of all that. And so, like, it's really cool to see what we do as an association to ensure that the public is taken care of, and at the same time that we're elevating the professionalism inside our industry to ensure that we're doing it at a high level from a professional standpoint. And so it's really awesome to see. So
Agreed, my friend. And we haven't even touched the state or national level either. So
right,
yeah, there's so much
right,
more to learn from.
yeah,
Thank you for that. That's a powerful message right there.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Chris, thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to ask you some now more pressing questions, and everybody goes through their journey, their own personal journey, in either leadership or their career or their personal life, whatever the case may be. But I want to get to know you a little bit more and find out what was your journey like. What was the hardest seasons that you had to go through in your career, in your path to leadership?
I think like just in being a real estate professional, when the sometimes I would say it takes a little bit of some mental strength in order to survive in this career. And I remember during those periods where the market kind of turned, took a change in direction in the early that 2006 7, where we just really lost a lot. Um, and I believe that during that period of time, I think it's important your environment that you're surrounding by and having the right people that are kind of coaching you and supporting you and mentoring you and encourage you during the tough times of real estate, and people that have the skills. And so I think those periods of time had a lot of reflection on me. I lost some stuff during that period of time, but I think it was more on the mental aspect of like how do you persevere during those periods of time, and ensuring that your environment is great mentally to perform in this business, I think is really important. I think I underestimated that early on getting in the profession. I thought very tactically around the transaction and what do I say and how I do it, there's going to be some times when it doesn't matter what the words come up. You just have to keep on doing it. You have to be out there talking to people and helping them get into home ownership. And during that period, it was tough because those conversations across the table when people are losing their house and they're losing everything that they're going through is really tough. And so just being a calming force, being a true professional during that period of time and helping consumers navigate whatever life decision that they need to have. I think it was really one of those like tough times just in general. But I think I just grew as a professional during that period of time as well. So,
Oh, thank you. Many of our friends that are listening or watching this podcast episode would want to hear some words of encouragement. Who were your mentors? Were there any books that you read that helped you stay on the course and not give up like so many did back in the day? And we had so many casualties of our past members just get out of the business in general. What would you say and recommend today to keep going?
you know, one of the things I think it's really important. One is I read a lot, you know, and I went to a lot of training to just strengthen the muscle of the mental strength of the real estate business. In addition, I needed to get in like an environment where I had like tons of realtors that were having success. And so I think that's important. When you see success, then you know you can be one of the people that do that. And so I just had tons of people that were mentors. Jenny Weimer, for example, was
she's an amazing leader. Yeah,
a mentor, someone I just respected in the industry. She was great. I had really great leaders like Rich Carpentieri,
also another great leader.
You know, Ray Lopez. There's a lot of like just great leaders that I just worked with during that period of time and just modeled. You know, like the mental stuff. Took all the classes I could take to kind of just get stronger and stuff like that. And so, and then ultimately, one of the things that I didn't understand earlier in my career is how important it is to have a coach, a real estate coach. And so when I actually got a real estate coach, my business like soared. Like it was almost like it was like I was playing like checkers and then I started to play chess with real estate. And so having a coach that was like pushing me to be better in my career, I think was super, super important. Also to navigate a lot of those, that season of like, how do I maximize this profession and stuff like that? So
super. And you hear that, guys, surround yourself with eagles, true leaders, and also don't play checkers, play chess. Can you elaborate on the coaching or coaches that you were working with? Were they an all-around coach that helped you with everything, or did they help out with a particular niche that you were involved in?
Yeah, so like I would say most of it was centered around. So this was one of the interesting things is that I had what I call a real estate performance coach that helped me like kind of navigate, and it cost some money. I had to make an investment,
Sure.
But that investment paid like 12-fold, you know, and so like it was great to have a coach that kind of did that, you know, and then from there was a season in my life where I got a divorce, and so my priorities changed, and I actually got into more of like what I call life coaching, and prioritizing how do you balance the business with your personal life to kind of grow personally. And then I started teaching a course called Quantum Leap to young people. And that was also like a driving force because that mentally started to challenge me to just be the very best I could be as a person. And then ultimately the business kind of came through that, you know, on that journey. So like it's kind of interesting. Is like the more that you grow personally, the better your business grows. So that was really huge.
That's very insightful because what I'm hearing is kind of find your weaknesses and maybe hire a coach to get you through that season.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
For real. Like, I mean, I think it's just a good thing. I think a lot of people want to try to do it on their own.
Sure.
And then
you know.
And I think it's hard. And then
Yeah.
like I had like I said, I had great mentors like Rich Carpentieri that like forced me to say, hey, this is the time, and he inspired me to like go out there and actually hire a coach. And then once I hired a coach, I got the results that I was kind of looking for. And I was like, oh, this is what everybody's talking about in real estate and being a great agent and all that kind of stuff and living that life. I think a lot of times, and this is, I hear a lot of times in my career that all the market's bad and all the market's bad. Well, it's not bad for everybody, and so you have to figure out what are the strategies that you can take in any market, because there's always people performing in any market. There's still a lot of sales that are going on in our market in general. It's just like, how do you get your own fair share? So
that is so true. I remember right before in that market crash, I was getting ready to get out because there was no sales happening. And then there's one person that was just doing it all. It was Jeff Perry.
Right.
All the REOs. He must have like 800 listings, 800 pendings. It was
he didn't have
ridiculous.
a hard time.
No, exactly. Exactly. So you're saying that no matter what the season is, there's always a way of finding a niche that will definitely help you succeed.
Yeah. I think that's important. You just got to, and I think you got to be authentic around yourself and what you do. And the more authentic that you are, the more business that I think you'll gain from it, because you'll build trust in the community.
You mentioned, we discussed a little bit about Leadership Academy. What does Leadership Academy teach that someone wouldn't learn on their own? What do you think?
Yeah, so one of the things that's really unique about the Leadership Academy, that it just brings you a lot of exposure to a lot of things that are happening that you have no idea that's going on. We went from talking about communication strategies and dealing with the press, which was like something I would never think about like on my normal day-to-day operations, going to experiencing the FREC and experience a day, what I call real estate scared straight. So if you don't want to go to jail, real estate jail, you should go to FREC and actually experience it, because it is completely eye-opening, to learning about the financials behind ORRA, how are structured as an organization, like our mission, the roles of the people that we're doing and how we're engaged, especially on the policy side in RPAC. I used to be one of those people that didn't check the box, would uncheck the box all the time, because I was just like, you're just trying to take more money from me, And then I realized their advocacy is huge for our industry. It's huge. And we don't experience it until someone told me that, and I always wondered this during COVID, how do we become essential employees? Like, we were out there risking our lives during COVID, but we got an opportunity to actually do our professional. It's because,
hold on, preach. Say that one more time, please.
Yeah, people don't realize that, literally, we would have been sitting home like every other profession if people weren't out there advocating for us in Tallahassee that say that we're essential workers, And so our lifeline of doing our business was all funded by RPAC. And so it was such a no-brainer, that I was like, yes, I'm going to sign up for this, and I'm always going to check the box, and I've now become the part of the donor class, I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but I know you're a member and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's just, we have more to do than just uncheck a box. We're literally fighting for a profession, and someone has to do it, and that's what I realize is it's like, you can kind of moan and you can kind of complain and you can do all that kind of stuff, but being a part of the solutions out there, I think, is really important for our profession. And we need leaders that want to be a part of the solution versus sitting back and talking about they're doing this and not doing that, right? bring your ideas, bring your involvement. And so that inspires me to get involved, just like you have. You've been an inspiration for me getting involved over these years. And so, yeah, so like, I think that's ultimately what I learned most about during the Leadership Institute is that how important it is for realtors to step up and get involved and help shape what we want for our profession.
That's amazing. And what I'm hearing is, instead of saying, what has ORRA done for me, what have you done for ORRA?
Yeah.
And if you don't click on the website and utilize the tools, that answer is real easy. Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to bring you customers to your house and pick you up and show properties. It doesn't work that way. You got to get involved.
So much stuff out there that we just, like, I haven't even, there's like so many things I've learned that we were doing, and like, what Florida realtors or FRs doing, like, it's just all that stuff. I got exposure to it, and getting more exposure to it makes me want to kind of help be a part of it as well.
And the history behind ORRA in Florida Realtors and Nationals, it's amazing. We go to Tallahassee to the Great American Realtor Days and lobby for our local real estate politics here, to make sure that prices aren't going crazy, and what could we do to help?
Yeah. And they listen to us.
Absolutely. That's what I love about it. They listen to us.
Yeah. Because we give money.
That's right.
It works.
It works. It works. We have a seat at the table with them to speak to them and address the concerns and issues of local community. Issues like insurance is being so high. We address that with the politicians. Yeah. They love us being there, voicing these concerns. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. No, thanks. Super. Yeah, it's good.
And what do you think the Leadership Academy is designed for?
I think if you want to get involved and you want to elevate your leadership style and you want to elevate your presence, if you're thinking about getting involved in ORRA and want to learn more, I think it's a great opportunity to learn more about the organization. And if you have a drive to be a leader, I think it's just a great, because you see it from a different perspective. And so that's what I've been most excited and most thrilled about, is really seeing it from a different lens. That's super helpful. So,
yeah, not just from a member, but from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah,
that's sure. Great. Yeah. So, Chris, what's the future of leadership looking like at its best right now?
Yeah, I feel like if we're looking at the future of real estate and leadership, I think it really comes down to really preserving the profession of what we do, no matter what it kind of looks like. There's a lot of talk around just, our profession going away, which I really doubt it. But it's like, how do we elevate our profession, and how do we ensure that our clients and our customers are getting the highest quality of a professional when it comes to real estate? And so I think leadership looks like providing either the technology, the resources, and the mindset that'll take us to that situation and provide the environment for real estate professionals to thrive. I think that's really what's important in the future.
Super. Then I'm going to ask this one final question. What's one final piece of advice that you would give to our viewers today that are listening?
I think the most important thing that any real estate agent could do is engage. Okay. And I would say get involved in your association. If that's a council that resonates with you, like the Military Advisory Council that I lead, or if it's diversity, or if it's government affairs, or it might be global, right? There's so many ways that you can get involved in your association, even if it has to do with some of those other organizations that are out there, like NARAP and NARAP. There's some really great organizations that you can just be engaged in. The Women's Council, there's so many stuff. The reason why I think it's important to do these things is, one, collaboration is important. When you're doing real estate transactions, it's important to know the real estate agents on the other side, because we're working together to help our customers achieve home ownership. And so when it's not combative and it's mutual beneficial to all of our customers, and it makes it a win-win situation, I think we owe it to our profession and owe it to our customers to ensure that we're professional and we're engaged and we can work through any solution that's out there. And so I'd say just get engaged and get involved.
Awesome. Well, today's message for everyone, once again, is to get involved. Whether you want to be in the leadership role or not, at least you get to learn how everything operates. Oh, we have to throw in there as well our Women Councils of Realtor, WCR, and ORRA as well. Those are all awesome organizations to get involved in case you're not aware of them. Always come up to the association here at ORRA, and we can get you always connected to them. Once again, if you are bored or have nothing else to listen to when you're walking and miss something here important, please join us and take us on your walk and on your journey. Thank you so much for listening today. This is Lawrence Bellido, the immediate past president for Orlando Regional REALTOR Association.